right, welcome to Small Towns Unscripted. One more time. How you doing, everybody?
I mean, we're in this amazing new place for us.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This is a great setting.
Yes.
All right. Scott Hutchinson, welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
Nicole Turner.
Yes, hello.
Tara Kalen. My name's Russ McClellan. Thanks for tuning in one more time. Yeah, we're in a very cool spot. In fact, dollar down, dollar day, this can be yours. Just
For
kidding.
a very limited time, it's coming, you know.
If you plan
Just
on living
kidding.
a million days.
Yeah, just kidding. It's all about the terms.
Yeah.
No, so these are Scott, why don't you tell us what we're doing? We're co-listing these, and that's a funny story in itself, like you said when you were talking to me off air about our relationship. So
Are we going to start with that?
We should just start with
should.
that.
Let's
It's
start
fun.
with that
That's a good way to
because
start.
I am going to peacock a little bit.
you got it. Peacock away.
When Russ and I sat and talked about this podcast idea and it started bubbling up, you know, the thing that we always discuss is getting to know people instead of
Right.
people, building connection and community instead of, oh, you're not from here, or oh, you're this, or oh, you're that, or, you know, all of our opinions.
Right.
And instead just being a little bit more open-minded and maybe breaking down some of those barriers that we've built, right? And I believe it came up in conversation about something to do with Scott. And both of you were a little bit like, well, I'm not really sure about that guy,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know. And I think to you I said, which you've thrown back in my face, I got to stay neutral,
Yeah.
right? Like, I can be a conduit, but, you
Yeah.
know, like, you're my people and you're my people, so...
And that's a good lesson in itself, because that's whether it's your friends getting divorced and they're
Yeah.
like whose side, you know, sometimes
Right.
it is good to be just a conduit.
Right.
And
like,
try to introduce people.
You know.
Yeah.
But then you guys both met up
We did.
and
Well, it's a good, from my
Talked.
perspective, it was a good
Yeah.
example of
And-
assumptions that aren't accurate.
now there's a co-listing agreement.
Yeah, now
There's
we're
a
working together.
Working together.
No, I just got tired of the fact that he wouldn't return my phone calls. I didn't make any assumptions. I was just like, after about the third or fourth time, I'm like, forget this guy.
Yeah.
And now you know.
And then Tara brought your name up, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. He doesn't return phone calls. And Tara's like, well, you two need to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, he's a little bit of a cowboy. And I'm like, I don't speak cowboy.
What does that even mean? Really?
Yeah, really? But he actually does. I found out.
Yeah. So it was fun how we came together, and then you guys were awarded the listings over here, and I was so impressed with just the way that your team tackled it and really got, you know, literally walking down to the beach and talking to people and inviting them up and saying, hey, we got sodas up here, come on up, you know. And I felt that was probably the most genuine effort that I'd seen a team do out here in a long time, my team included, who are really small. And so when it came up that with ownership said, what do you think about co-listing? And I said, well, I know the guy and I'm meeting with him in 2 days. And then I said his name. He's like, yeah, I remember him. I'm like, well,
Great.
he's great. And so if he accepts, then we're in. And we're going to do this together and we get these things sold and move on.
So I just
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
very grateful.
that's like a proud mom moment.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's like you can practice what you preach, or you can just say things. And I really feel like this is a moment where we have seen real time in a short amount of time how we can do what we say. We can get to
Yeah.
know people and be open-minded and create new relationships instead of keeping ourselves
I think the
separate.
whole podcast has actually done that in various ways with various people, just getting to know them, even though we knew of them for 20 years or 30 years. I often say on the podcast that you often know somebody from a particular moment in time, like I didn't return your phone calls, or if I was a cop, I gave you a ticket,
Right.
or if I was a doctor, I stabbed you with a needle. Like you remember that particular moment, but you have no other context about it.
Yeah.
And you know, there's sometimes
Or-
reasons for certain things.
Or like, yeah, I mean, haven't you had a bad period?
Oh yeah, me?
You know,
You ever seen
yeah.
a roller coaster?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, can we not all offer each other grace? Because I didn't realize that we were all so perfect.
Exactly.
With these happy, never had a wrinkle, always had a great day, always been happy, never said something
I like being in the
stupid.
trenches, really, because when something happened, I'd call you, you would pick up my call, and you'd solve the problem. And then same thing with me. I feel like I gave you the same courtesy that when something was going sideways, I got with my team and we figured it out. And we did that a fair amount, and it was right then and there learned how you operated, so it helped.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the friendship now more than anything, and that's the rare part. Yeah, so the in progress, like we saw last summer when we're working together, and I find that that's most people, but it's also real easy when you're slammed to not make the extra effort to put yourself in the other person's shoes, which is something I'm constantly, always pressing. And pressing means sometimes you're making mistakes, but you got to learn from them. And that whole grace, forgiveness, and generosity should be a part of your business plan, if at all possible. And then it's also like, there's an old saying, that I have learned over the years is you can delegate responsibility, but you can't delegate accountability. And ultimately, you got to take the blame when it's something sideways. And with the team, I always feel like when there's success, the team wins. It's the team's doing. It's just like a good coach or a good quarterback or whatever. But I think in this valley, teams are rare. I mean, there's not really a lot of that going on over on this side of the mountains versus, I'm sure there's some, but I really think when we're going on listing appointments, whether it's a resort project and condos or whether it's land or even an individual house, we try to educate people, if nothing else. They're still independent contractors, but we try to make sure the spirit of that reputation, of that focus, of that drive is collectively understood. Yeah. And we all have different lives, so I don't, when people work with me, I don't expect them to be total carbon copies of each other. In fact, we had a meeting this morning. We were just like, what is it that individually that you want to accomplish? So I know what individually I should bring to the table or not. And expectations, and I often say that unmet expectations on the inside lead to like hurt feelings and disappointment, and on the outside lead to like, litigation, murder, things like that.
Things that we would like to avoid?
Things you want to avoid at all costs.
So let's roll back the clock on the Scott Hutchinson story a little bit, because I read the bio questions and there was only one thing I didn't know about you. We're friends.
He didn't know.
That you had an uncle who was here in Chelan living, where we know people live now, before they were there, and had Kelly's hardware store before it was Kelly's,
which is crazy.
So let's talk about that.
That's a long time ago.
So my Uncle Paul, his last name is Reed, and I believe it used to be called like Reed Beach or something. I could be wrong on that, but they had that whole stretch, and then owned the hardware store and everything. Of course, was just a lot smaller.
So where was the whole stretch?
So it's basically from
one end of the old bridge,
probably the Fish and Game building. Would be
the
maybe.
Ranger Station.
Probably like right there, and then
down
would be my natural guess.
To Peterson's.
Down to Peterson's, I don't know if it was all the way to Peterson's, but it was.
But we know Slog and Hops.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that's the house they lived in. That was his.
That house.
Yeah, that got torn down. That was a beautiful house. Yeah.
Wow. That's so much property.
Yeah.
So when was that?
I think it was in the 40s or 50s. I don't know for sure. But when I moved here, or first took a job here in the valley, that was 12 years ago, my uncle called me and was all excited. And
like, hey, did you know?
Hey, did you know? And
did you know?
No, had no clue.
No.
Yeah. That's why I think I told Ann like right away when I found out. Yeah.
No, you didn't even know.
Yeah. No, had no idea. I didn't even know he was from Chelan. It's my Uncle Paul. He's very intellectual,
it was Uncle Paul
kind
from
of reserved.
California.
And I only knew him from Seattle. So
that's funny.
It was pretty cool how he opened up, because he's a little more of an introvert. He's a great guy, super intelligent guy, and he and my Aunt Charlie just have a really cool, history together. And so when he told me this, it's like, well, another thing you just learn as you go.
That is a super fun.
Yeah.
You being connected to Chelan story in a way you didn't even know.
Yeah.
This is like Russ finding out he's related to everybody.
Yeah.
After the dance.
After the podcast.
Now they got DNA testing.
Okay, so that's really
America.
I think that's kind of a cute story.
It was fun to learn that, and I did have some tie, because there are a lot of people that have been here for a long time that still don't consider themselves locals.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Yeah,
then
that's a
fast
conversation
forward
right there.
to, you know, you're not from here.
Yeah.
You grew up elsewhere. Let's talk about your personal history.
You know, just me personally from when.
Yeah, like you were born in Seattle.
Yeah, born in Overlake Hospital in Bellevue.
Me too.
Nice. And all my kids were born there, and my
Nice.
wife was born there.
Nice.
Anyway, when I was young, I was almost 2. My dad and mom got tired of the rain and the traffic, and my dad's legacy is one that he kind of needed to step out on his own to forge his own path.
I can understand that.
And so he moved us to Boise, and
Sunshine.
we needed some sun and some hunting and some fishing and
Nice.
Yeah.
golfing, and
The place is not growing at all now.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm
Places-
assuming now, I mean, back then it was probably a small town.
Yeah, it was. You actually had separation. So when you go up in the foothills, like towards Bogus Basin right now, and you look at the valley, it's light from one end to the other. Whereas I was growing up there, and it was little pods
Yes.
of lights.
Little town here.
Little town
thing,
here,
yeah.
and it's all just whoosh.
Kind of Chelan Manson.
I know, they're lights at night for
Yep.
sure.
Different 30 years ago.
Yep.
Things change. Beautiful
So,
place, though.
Yeah, so that was a fun place to grow up. Used to take my shotgun and borrow my dad's Suburban on Fridays and take my shotgun to school and my hunting dog and leave at lunch. And my mom would write us notes to, I mean, we were all good kids, you know, like smart kids and athletes. And so it wasn't like we were bums. And
This is why he can talk cowboy.
yeah. Yeah. And I will add that my ecology teacher who has passed away actually would meet us down in Emmett, Idaho, and we'd jump shoot ducks together.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
yeah, he's like, if you get caught getting out of here, I'm not with you. So it was literally all through hunting season. So it was probably like 6-8 Fridays in a row that we do that.
That's fun.
So that was a good experience growing up over there. But there weren't enough economic drivers that I could see myself staying there. I mean, you either worked for HP, Micron, or Albertsons, and or you're a doctor, or a lawyer, or a dentist. You know, you're not. There's either service business or there wasn't anything really, and the real estate was controlled by a handful of wealthy people.
Cattle farmers, probably.
So yeah, a lot of that. So anyway, sorry. So then I knew that I needed to get out. It's like small town, right? And so I moved down to Arizona when I went to college, and went to University of Arizona, and then finished there. Didn't know anybody when I moved down there. Finished there, moved to Spain. I literally had a week in between finishing school and moving to Spain where I didn't know anybody. And that was crazy. My fraternity brothers were saying, you don't speak Spanish. I'm like, well, that's the best place to learn it.
Yeah, right.
So-
Immersion.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was a
whole
lot.
year there?
And when I first arrived, I was living with a family. It was through the University of Arizona. So I had some Spanish classes to finish getting my degree. And so I said, made a presentation to my parents over the holidays before I graduated and said, so it's going to cost X number of dollars for me to stay in the United States and go to school and probably just drink beer with my buddies, or I can go to Spain and it's cheaper in the long run. And I'll probably learn the language. And I did. So I lived there, loved it, went to school 8 hours a day, 5 days a week from basically August until December.
Do you speak Spanish now?
Not anymore. I mean, I can understand it. I can sometimes, you know, after a couple Coors Lights, I could probably, you know, a little more comes out.
Yeah,
The
when
brain
you're
loosens up a little bit.
On a beach
Yeah.
in Mexico, it
Yeah,
comes back?
I mean, I can get us all around the beaches in Mexico. That's not a problem. But I can't really converse like I used to.
Sure.
I over the last 25 years, I lose the vocabulary, and you know, it just
Yeah.
kind of. But when I do say something, it catches people off guard.
Right.
So that was great. And then I finished school, and my dad and mom and brother and sister flew over, and we were there for 2 weeks. And they took him to the Madrid airport to fly him home. And Dad said, "Here's your plane ticket." And I said, "I'm not going home." And he said, "Literally, you're cut off." And I said, "Okay." He goes, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I'll figure it out." And
I don't know, but
so
this is pretty great.
I don't know, but this is pretty great. I was like, I wasn't ready. I
This
just
is
knew.
youth,
I wasn't
right?
ready, yeah. And he wasn't lying. So I did keep a credit card. My dad didn't shut that off, but the cash stopped coming in. So I found a bar there, and I liked the owner, and I asked him for a job, and so he paid me under the table, and I lived in a hotel for like 2 nights. That's all I could afford. And then I was doing martial arts, and so the guy that owned the dojo let me sleep in the dojo
Oh,
for
nice.
like 2 or 3 weeks before I got an apartment with no heat. So we'd get up in the middle. My roommate was a Swede, and we'd get up in the middle of the night and like start kicking the bag to get warm, and then hop back in our sleeping bags and try and sleep for 3 more hours. And so we did that. Finally got an apartment, and about, I think it was July or something like that. The following July, I woke up and said, "I got to go home. I have a finance and econ degree, and I'm a bartender in Spain." So
this has been fun.
It's been fun. So I literally packed my stuff, hopped on a plane, and went home, and then moved to Seattle after that, and met my wife a year after that. And
It's funny. We have the same degrees too.
yeah, econ finance.
Degree in cowboy. Degree in city.
Yeah, right.
So, and then working in the big city, raising a family, that was a lot with 4 kids.
Did you meet your wife down in Spain, or where did you guys?
I met her at Sunset Bowl in Ballard.
I was going to say bowling.
Bowling.
We got set up. One of my girlfriends from college lived with our now sister-in-law and said, "Hey, why don't you come out? There's some guys I know that are fun." And so went out, and Amy was there, and looked at her, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
That's a cute little
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was dressed quite nicely.
And I didn't realize.
I remember exactly what she was wearing too.
Is that the G-rated version of quite
It
nice?
was just she's a hell of an athlete, and I just really just
She just looks.
She's just
Yeah.
a put together gal.
Yeah,
You know?
she really
She
is.
just is.
So that was fun, and I was dating a couple other girls at the time, and just knew right away that wasn't
You're
gonna
like, drop
continue.
those 4.
Dropped
and
'em.
This one.
If you made it through Spain, you're doing all right.
I had plenty of experience over there, so it was just I was ready, and she seemed like the one, and what we're 23 years, I think
And
23 years,
four kids
4
later. I didn't
kids.
realize you had 4
4
kids.
kids.
And a
Yeah.
move to Manson. You drug your wife to Manson.
And this is what scared my partners originally, was when I told them that we were moving to Manson, and they looked at me and they said, we understand, Boise, all that. Your wife, you pull her out of Bellevue? I'm like, it was her idea.
Yeah.
So did she always just grow up in like Seattle, Bellevue area?
She grew up in Bellevue,
Yes.
born and
Just
raised.
never left.
Never left. Well, she went really
Until she
far.
came here.
She went across
She
the
went to
lake
UW. Literally,
That's
she
very
lived on
Yeah.
one side of the lake and UW
Yeah.
was on the other.
Yeah. So.
She did live in Europe for 3 or 4 months, and
Oh.
I credit her for doing that because it did expand her mind a little bit. She did spend some time overseas. So, she just decided, when we had those young kids, you're packing the car, you're unpacking the car. And
That's a lot.
So she said, "What do you think about moving there?" I told her what I think
Well,
we'd get
because
for
you
our
were
house.
working here.
I was commuting, yeah.
And that's a lot. That's a
That's a
lot when
lot.
you've got
And so-
small kids too.
When you were commuting, were you like here Monday through Friday, and then you would drive back
2
on the
days
weekends?
usually.
Just 2 days.
I'd go usually on a Monday and stay till Wednesday, so 2 nights,
Mm-hmm.
or I'd do day trips, or I'd do just overnight, and then we'd go on vacation here where we would stay here. I would work, and then she and the kids could play around.
Yeah.
So there was combining work. And
How did you get into that role? Like, where were you? You said partnerships. Were you doing something else before you got hired by George Shukart?
well, we were partners with Scott Hutchinson, our development company.
Okay.
But when I was interviewing for the job, I told George I would like to start a development company. That's kind of the long-term goal. And he said, "Great, I'm familiar with that. My dad had one. I worked in it." He's like, "Let's do it." And so we knew when I joined the management company here that would be, and within 12 months we had Scott Hutchinson started. So and we just small projects because
And you met him because your relationship was your,
our families go back over 100
go
years.
back a long time.
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
So George Sr. and Judy, his wife, were really tight with my grandparents. And then my dad grew up with George. They went to
Oh.
Lakeside together.
Funny.
You know, Seattle used to be a small town too.
Yeah. And working with them, it's great. I still do. Because there's a friendship there. Like Casey and I, George's son, he's the president of the Shukart Corp now. I mean, we would see each other at these real estate functions and social functions, and it's like we had known each other our whole lives.
Yeah.
Like my mom would box up our old ski gear, we'd use for one season and grow out of it and send it to George and Lori, and they'd dress their 3 kids.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so it's been fun. And, with every relationship, there's challenges, but they handled those challenges in a way that are fair. And so, power.
Ding.
Ding. Thanks, Tony. And so that's why we've had this relationship for 12 years, this development company for 12 years, and we're about ready to start construction on 90 units of apartments.
Wow.
In fact, we just demoed the house last week.
And that's in Wenatchee?
That's in Wenatchee.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
exciting.
it's next to 60 that we already had, so there'll be 150 in 5
And
acres.
Where is that at?
It's on Maple Street,
Oh, up
across
there.
from Foothills Middle School.
Yep.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. It's been a 21-month project and kicking off right now.
And that's one of the cool things about you and Ronan, and now you own North Shore Realty together with
Yep.
Ronan. And that's kind of a direction that you like.
Yeah, I really enjoy the real estate side of things and transacting. And with all the years of development, I think that all facets of real estate are all tied together. You use the same skill set. People like to separate project manager from like development manager. The only difference is development managers are building ground up, but they're still managing a project.
Yeah.
And same with project managers, you're still scope, schedule, budget. Those are all the things that you need to understand intuitively.
Well, and today, we're dealing with it in 3 counties in the city with our development company, and
in another country too.
yeah, well, that's not. I'm not on that one, but I'm in the Chelan, Douglas, Okanagan City, Chelan, and the development and project managers. I mean, what they're working with now and how hard it is to get through the horizontal work. That's a skill set in itself that, unless you've done development, you don't realize how important. You talk about scope and schedule. Well, predicting things in an unpredictable environment.
Yep.
Have you experienced that? I mean, just
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've run into eminent domain, adverse possession.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. And that almost cost me a complete redesign of the 90 units.
Wow.
But there was enough setback that we were able to give them the land that they needed.
we were talking about this in another podcast,
Yikes.
but most people from the outside looking into real estate development really don't quite, and why would they understand the nuances of the challenges inside of what people are trying to do? I mean, it's really easy to say, why don't you just do that?
Right.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that gets said all the time with the trolls online, doesn't
yeah.
it?
Well-
Just blah blah blah. Oh, okay, I'll just.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll just Goodfellas. We'll
Yeah.
just build
Yeah.
on the 3 fingers.
Right.
No big deal.
If that wasn't all an option, we would be doing it. Trust me.
They'll just
For
make it a
half the
park
cost.
for everybody.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we were talking about it. It'd almost be worth having a podcast just about the challenges. Like
Oh, yeah.
nobody might watch it, but it would be like a module after module after module.
I mean, I think if you did
I think
it
that's
in
more like
short,
a YouTube.
little spits,
class.
it would
Right.
be.
Could be.
Prevent the people's eyes rolling back and drool coming out of their
Yeah,
mouth.
it's
Yeah,
just
blah,
short,
blah, blah.
30-second, little spit.
Okay, so
But it is
you
challenging.
moved here.
Before we go there,
Yeah.
let me just wrap up this apartment project.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
our superintendent, who's a local Wenatchee guy, he started talking to the neighbor. This guy's name is Dutch Jacoby. Now that's his call sign is Dutch. And so Dutch mentioned to Ray that, hey, we're thinking about selling. Ray calls me and says, they're thinking about selling. So I meet with Dutch, we start talking. This was a negotiation that lasted almost 2 years.
Okay.
And it wasn't always about the deal, but it was about how to set him up so that he and his wife could end up selling the house, but then meeting the needs of them traveling around and visiting their kids out at college and stuff. So anyway, the relationship already had been established with Ray and Dutch. Then Dutch and I start establishing a relationship. Dutch was a Top Gun pilot with George's brother who passed away
Wow.
Whoa.
in a training
Wow.
accident down in California. So
Yeah.
Dutch, when he tells the story, he chokes up.
Oh,
So there's a relationship that went all the way back. So thank goodness that I handled it in a way that was good because we didn't know that right away.
oh yeah.
And that
Never
was
know,
one of those,
do we?
You know, if I
Well,
crossed him,
think about this. In 2008, when we all anybody that was in real estate got smacked, and I got smacked pretty hard. And the person that bought my real estate company at the time was George Schuchart Jr. And so he handled himself. I mean, he had me on the ropes. I mean, everybody, if you had money in 2008, you could get good deals.
Yeah.
I mean, this is,
Like-
this is
Yeah.
when the rich get richer and
Yeah.
all.
But he
all
didn't. I mean, to
honesty.
his credit, he was very, very fair and actually allowed a bad situation to be as good as it could be for me, and actually protected all the people that worked for me, including Alice Harris, who was very, very close to me. And that was really the only request that I asked for, was that she became the designated broker and made the same amount of money she made with me.
Which was amazing.
And he did it. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
he could have done a
Which
lot
was
of things.
amazing.
And then who would have known years later I'm sitting in one of his condos with you.
No, I mean, that
We
was
never
just,
know.
You never know.
We
you know, my
never
dad taught me
know.
that when I was really little. He said, never burn a bridge.
Me too.
Because you never know what you're going to ask for.
Me too.
We had 400 acres by Winlock Napavine on I-5. And I was working for a big developer at the time. We had 50 acres tied up of Mastro's dirt. Mastro retraded the deal. We ended up getting our own money back, and we got our expenses paid back, and we just wanted to be done with them. And so we were done with them, but we're kind of licking our wounds because Michael's had a 1 million square foot requirement, industrial building that wanted to be in the Puget Sound. So we lost our ticket to go out and land the Michael's deal. Well, I had left my previous employer. He was a little upset, but I could tell that I wasn't going to grow with him, and so I left it respectfully. So I told my boss, Bart, I said, I got 50 acres. He's like, where? I said, Napavine. He said, can you get under contract? I'm like, sure. Picked up the phone. Frank, I want to buy 50 acres of your Napavine property. Okay, Scott. He said, send over the purchase and sale agreement. And he said, okay. So we got it under contract. We didn't end up getting the Michael's deal. Yep, it just came back on.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. So we didn't end up getting the Michael's deal, but it showed that had I burnt that bridge when I left guy, I would have never been able to make that phone call and at least get us in the I mean, we got to present in front of Michael's. We were in the top, 5 developers that got to pitch, and I think there were 8 of them.
Dang.
So that's not bad. I'll take that. But anyway.
It's serendipitous.
Yeah. It is fascinating. I mean, we don't know the laws of the universe and stuff, but there's ties in everything that we do, and it just comes full circle sometimes.
Well, and this town is a melting pot of people from all over the place that have connections after connections. And, 35 years I've been doing this in real estate. So I started when I was 19. And you just never stop learning, and you never stop growing. And, it's real estate. You know this. I mean, if you love real estate, you love it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't, you don't. It's kind of one of those things. If it catches you and you get bit, you just do it.
You just do it.
And to me, it's just fun.
Okay,
no matter
so I
what
want
it
to
is.
talk about
Yeah,
you
were gonna go
guys
somewhere.
as a family. You've moved here.
Yes.
Amy's on board. You don't want to commute anymore.
It was her idea.
You've got little kids.
If it goes bad, it's her idea.
She's not
goes
here
good, it's
to
my
say.
Yeah.
I do know firsthand that she loves it. But, what does that look like how did that work for you? Were you guys just here and immediately you loved it? Or were there some growing pains? Or, was there some learning curve?
Thank goodness I worked in the Valley and knew enough people like Zulaga, Byquist, Crunch Novels. If I need anything, I call Eric Campbell. I could call Eric in a second. I've known him a long time. And so, and in fact, that was, having those support group. And then Tom and I worked together in CBRE over in Seattle
Right.
when he was in appraisal. And so it was more of a softer landing for us than just a boom, we're here.
Sure.
And then we didn't know what house we were going to buy. And when I learned I wanted to be up in the hills with a big view and a pool, and come to find out my wife wanted to live at Wapato where I work. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to live, I work there. Like, what are you doing? And she said, I want to be on the water. And I said, okay. So we were hunting, and this is at a time, this is pre-COVID, so the market was super soft. And we found this house that could fit the 6 of us. And actually, it was only a 3-bedroom. We had to put a wall up to make it a 4-bedroom. But we did that. We accomplished the goal of, my wife grew up on Lake Washington. She's always wanted to give that experience to the kids. We were able to afford it. So, and I think it's one of the best views in the entire valley. It's spectacular.
And your commute was really...
My commute was fantastic. And
Home
so
for
what
lunch.
it did, kind of getting to come home for lunch when my kid's 2 years old, right? And he's our 4th born.
Yeah.
And then spending every lunch with him, watching him grow. And we had a good friend of ours, Lorena, that worked with us, and she had a baby, and so a little Seat Lolly. So Seat Lolly and John were together, like at the house, and you could see that, it was just really cute. And then she would not speak enough Spanish with John, but she was very sweet to us and to help us out. She was a big, big help to our family.
How far apart are your kids in age?
19, 16, 15, and 9. So the 19 and the 9 are boys, and they're 10 years apart. So
And they're so cute together.
they're really cute together. Yeah, they are. I'm
and,
lucky.
And William's going to UW.
Yep, he's going to be a dog.
So it's got to be a
Super
challenge to
excited.
try to imagine raising your kids in Bellevue versus what you did do. If you look back at how you raised, do you think the changes that have happened everywhere, right? But do you think the changes would be more significant here or more significant if you raised them in Bellevue?
I think it would have eaten me alive. Bellevue's changed so much over the
Oh,
years.
man.
It would have just eaten me alive. I just didn't care for it. I didn't want to stress about all the little
those
things.
things.
And the downfall here is that there's not enough athletic programs for kids, right? And the ones that are there are kind of okay. But the difference is, at least they're playing soccer, at least they're playing basketball,
Yeah.
and to get them into the AAU or whatever it was like $250 a kid per season to even get them.
And tryouts.
And tryouts.
I mean, it's a lot
And
over
the
there.
commute for just,
Oh.
if you have 4 kids, think about like the
No, I
time,
can't
distance.
even. My parents wanted me to be here instead of Bellevue in '88.
Right.
So
Yeah, could you imagine what it's like
the
now?
difference now.
Yeah.
There's
My
no
folks
rush.
were pumped when we moved here. They just knew that it was going to eat us alive at Bellevue.
There's no rush hour anymore. I don't think it's just rush.
Just rush. Yeah.
And going from one school to a playground or one school to a football field, that might be 30, 40, 50 minutes, 2 hours, like probably depending
cover-
on
to
if
cover
you had
2
4
miles?
kids doing 4
To cover
sports.
2 miles?
Oh my gosh.
That's what I mean.
I
I
got
mean,
a
you're
recital.
driving the
I
same
got-
amount of time, but here you're traveling 80 miles.
Yeah. I mean,
Not 8.
Yeah.
I do like that though. Especially during COVID too, like we would intentionally go down to Wenatchee. We'd stay in a hotel for a night or two. We'd go in the Highlander. I love what,
You guys are really pro at the kind of staycation.
yeah. Because it's experiencing new areas and
Yeah.
people
And people, for
Yeah.
sure.
You know, and so I feel like, I remember telling Amy one time, oh, you got to go to the bread line.
Yeah.
And, and then you guys went to the bread line. And it's like, now it's like, oh, yeah, if we're going to go that way, we're
Yeah.
going to go to the bread line.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
And there's the Doghouse barbecue we've gone to a couple times. We always try and pick in these little towns, try and pick a different place. And you're reading reviews and all that.
Yeah.
Because you want everyone to have a good experience. And,
Yep.
and I want to support the other communities too, because they have the same issues that we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
We were just talking about Veranda Beach Marina and how you didn't know it was there. A lot of people didn't know it was there. The Veranda Beach Resort
Yeah.
up in Orville. We just launched a marina project there
That's right.
last weekend. And it's like a little hidden secret.
I mean, I guess in my little Manson small town mind, I don't feel like I think, hey, you know what sounds fun? Driving to Orville.
Yeah, it's different.
well, when you go to watch a baseball game, somewhere in the Orville River, there's my son's home run baseball floating around.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well, and that's what the point is, that there's a lot of cool places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you
There's
just
little hidden gems everywhere.
yeah, and
Look
it's
at what Lone Point out in Brewster.
Oh.
I mean,
And gamble.
and gamble. So we do the gamble thing usually in the winter. We do the Lone Point thing. I mean, it's affordable. The food's good at both places. The wine's good, and the accommodations are fantastic.
Yep.
And it's not $1,000 a night for us to rent
No,
2
it's
hotel
so
rooms.
fun. I mean, skiing the loop.
The Loop, love the Loop.
There's just so many. I've got a girlfriend who keeps saying, Diana, I'm ready for Bloody Marys in Concanelli. She keeps talking about how fun this is, her family place in Concanelli. I'm like, I
Concanelli, Omak Lake.
have never
All these places,
experienced
I've
that.
not really done that either. But
No.
you look at them now that there's a lot of images online, you can go, wow, that's pretty cool looking.
Pretty cool place.
Yes,
You know,
Yeah.
right.
we just, like you said, growing up here, you're spoiled.
a little.
And-
I mean,
You know, and at the,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Where are you
hard-
gonna
it's
go?
hard not to be.
where are you going to go?
there was also a thing we talked about a lot growing up when apple farmers were smaller, and there was stability in all these communities. There was a certain economic base that was stable for generations, and that has kind of been eroded for sure in the last 2 decades or so. But because of that, I think that's part of where the pride of I'm this
Yeah,
and you're
I'm
that.
Manson.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The rivalries, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to your damn town.
Yeah.
Yeah, your water's not better than our
Shit, we barely
water.
went to Chelan. They eat goats.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
My kids are the
That's-
first traders of our family.
That is
Oh
a
my
real
God.
I have
thing.
one. I have one that's a trader this fall.
Perfect.
She's gonna be a goat.
Yeah.
Hey,
I know.
like I said to her, when you live in Bellevue or Seattle, you have 4, 5, 6 different high schools to
choices.
choose
Yeah.
from. So Don't let because the small town thing matter. I mean, you gotta go where you need to go.
She's gonna thrive.
Where you gotta,
She's
I hope
gonna
she
absolutely
does.
thrive.
You know?
She just is so excited. Her bulb is bright again, and that's cool.
That's
So,
Yeah. So, come on. Again, let's drop the torches
Yeah.
about Chelan v. Manson.
Yeah.
The fun
Yeah.
rivalry.
Okay, like, come on.
I know it's funny.
Can't we all
'cause-
just be friends?
So there's at least within my family, there was this, my aunt and uncle, like, oh, you're moving to Bellevue? And I looked, my cousins around the table, and this is before Amy and I were married. And I said, yeah. I'm like, why? Why not? You have to cross a bridge. I'm like, I have 2 bridges I could cross. And
Yeah.
they're like, I'm like, well, I have a lot of crap. Skis, golf clubs, bike. Like, I need to put my stuff places, and there's no garages in Seattle, so I got to go somewhere where the garages are.
It's true.
So anyway, there's that rivalry kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you go
Yeah.
here, and I didn't feel it because I didn't grow up in Seattle. So I don't feel it here as much. Chelan is Manson, Manson is Chelan.
Well, it's
to me.
different now too. It is
Yeah.
more melded. I mean, there's not nearly the
Well, and he doesn't have a
he wouldn't have it, but
mascot,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
But the kids even are different. I mean, they're all kind of integrated now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so different.
it's not the competitor or the competitiveness isn't there. But you got to think about the dads that, like my dad, got in a fist fight every week at the dance hall with the Chelan boys and the Manson boys in high school in the 50s. And he was a little guy, but he used to say, the big guys would always bet on my little guy could beat up your little guy. And so he always got beat up. And,
I think there's more entertainment now, so we don't need
You know
that.
what,
as
but they
No,
never,
like-
but it wasn't like they hated each other. They would
No, but
buy each
that
other
was
beer afterwards.
Yeah.
that was
Just different.
Yeah.
about the time.
In the 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandpa would go out to dance halls and get in fights.
That's the thing to do.
He wasn't from here.
So where we went from there to where we were, just a little competitive in sports, is a big step.
Yeah.
We weren't fighting every week.
Right.
We were getting along with each other, and we were
Yeah.
on the same AU team. So now it's, I think, just gone. We talked about that earlier. Like
Yeah.
every generation has its changes.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
been at your house with your kids, and they've got Chelan kid friends with them.
I was talking to Keith Allen the
You
other
know?
day. I'm like, yeah, we had a couple of Chelan guys, because he mentioned a kid's name, and I was like, oh, yeah, I had a couple guys playing poker at my house, and Chelan guys, and it was one of the kids. I'm like, yeah, I don't remember the name of the other kid. It was Keith's son.
Yeah.
It was Jacob.
It was Jacob.
That's funny.
And so I texted back. I said, oh, by the way, it was your kid that was
Yeah.
at my table playing poker, and he got a kick out of that.
When you see Keith next time, because you said you brought shotguns to high school. And
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Keith would bring
boy.
his loader tractor, an old International, put the bucket all the way up, put his shotguns and his bird hunting stuff in the loader tractor. And then after school, he'd take his tractor down to where he could hunt some quail on the way home.
Really?
And he had one outfit. He had, you got to give him some shit. This is true,
will.
Keith. You know it's
This
true.
is true.
He had one outfit.
He's
It was
denying
a
it,
wife
obviously.
beater tank top.
Yeah, and
He had
jeans.
cut off Levi's and logging boots and a can of Copenhagen in his pocket.
Jorts.
Then he married Kyla, and I was like,
That was
Did he class it up?
surprising.
he had
Yeah, I had to class it
She definitely makes him level up for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I give her a lot of credit.
Yeah, and now, it's funny. But when you know some, we grew up together. He was like 2-3 older than me in high school, so we were friends a long, long time. And
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun to see people like all of us. When you're still here and you grew up together, and it's kind of unique. But it's
And his
also
kids went to Chelan.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Your kids
Yeah.
went to Chelan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
these kids are studs, man. They're both going to Boise State.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what Jacob is interested in.
Neither. Fraternity.
Probably.
Isn't that
Girls.
what most
Keep
college
so-
boys are
That's
interested in?
that's what my son's doing. But he's gonna go construction management.
Cool. There you go.
So he's getting his broker's license right now. If I can just keep him in the room for 4
Oh,
hours.
I'm sorry, William. It's so
So he's
boring.
going to be a freshman, the
gonna be a
19-year-old
freshman, yeah.
at Boise. Where's he going?
At
You
UW.
died.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I won't hold it against you guys.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not judgmental. I mean, I'm sorry he did it, but it's good.
So we'll see.
My daughter was a cougar, so I have to be.
He was very close to being a coot. He really enjoyed that. We went up there 3 different times and met with the head of the CM program. I thought this is for him. And then he came home and said, I don't know if I want to be in a small town again. And I don't think Pullman's a small town.
Well,
but
it's
I
either
don't
way.
Compared to
disagree.
Seattle.
Yeah, I don't disagree. He needs to get out. And that's one thing that I'm a big fan of is
Yeah.
get out, try something new, and
Yeah.
come back. Like you have to do that because you don't know what you don't.
You don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I lived over in Mill Creek for 4 or 5 years. So I understood a little bit of the town. And then doing real estate over there, I was like, okay, I'm so tired of sitting in my car for this long. Right. Let's go back where there's less traffic and people are just different. And, yeah. And I don't regret it. I liked it. I learned a lot living over there for a little time.
No, you said that in that email you sent, but I agree 100%. If a kid stays here, it can be done.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
No.
A lot of those relationships don't always work out after high school that they worked out in high school. People go different ways. My son went to the Marine Corps for 5 years and was stationed in Miramar on the aviation side. And then he, after doing all that and the deployments, realized 5 years later, now I know I want. But if he wouldn't have, he might have thought he did.
Yeah. It just makes you appreciate what you have, right? Because when you get so used to it, you think like, oh,
yeah, for sure.
This is boring, or I deserve better, or who knows what,
Yeah, and you don't know until you try, and see
you
some
got to
things.
learn from other people, I think, and cultures. Like, whether you go to a big city, you're going to be submerged in a melting pot no matter what big city you go to. So you're going to learn a lot about culture very fast. Or you go to a country like Spain, and you study that culture, or France. And this is really funny. One of the things that stuck out that I learned the most when I lived in Europe is that no matter where you are in the world, everybody has a stereotype.
Oh, really?
And I never,
for sure.
I never thought. It's kind of like when you think you watch a Chinese person talking to a dog in Chinese. You're like, why does that dog understand what they're saying? Right?
Totally.
You don't.
I
think
thought that
like,
when I was a kid.
Yeah, you don't think
because our
that
neighbors
way, right?
had a German Shepherd, and I thought,
A lot of the
that
canine units
dog know
are speaking in German, and the
Yeah.
German, they get it.
Yeah.
It's
So
true.
one of the things that you guys will crack up is my buddy that I lived with. He was a Swede, Thomas Ferrick, and Thomas said something about we met somebody from Finland, and he goes, "Oh God, I can't stand the Finns," and he's a Swede, and I'm like, "What's wrong with the Finns?"
they're not Swedes.
He's like, well, first of all, they're not Swedes, and then but he said,
Funny.
they drink cups of vodka with no ice that's this tall, and then they ski in jeans, and I about died laughing.
They ski in
because
jeans?
in Boise, we would see the kids from CUNA come over and ski Bogus Basin, and they'd all have jeans on, and we're like, what is your problem?
What's the thing
It
here?
soaks water in. Like, you're supposed to have pants.
And that's the most uncomfortable. Wet jeans
Ooh.
is the most uncomfortable
Do you
thing
know
anyways.
Ryan Kaufel?
Yeah,
Ryan Kaufel skis in jeans at Echo.
yeah, I do
And
too.
if you see him in ski pants, it's real cold.
It's real cold.
I think we did that a lot.
But now,
Echo Valley in
today,
the 70s.
he does.
No, today.
Still, today, when I see
Good.
him
He's
in the
traditional.
winter.
I like it. He's holding on to the 70s.
Yeah.
Here's another one that was told to me by a Basco who was the uncle of one of my buddies growing up, because Boise has the second largest Basque population in the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's outside of the Basque country in Spain.
Oh.
So, a lot of my buddies' last names like Goicochea, Echevarria.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
So, my buddy's uncle, we're driving through the Basque country. We're going to Barcelona or something, and he said, Scott, or no, we're going to Irun, France, very south of France, just to check it out. He goes, Scott, God created the most beautiful thing on earth and the most ugly thing on earth. And I was like, what? He's telling me this in Spanish. And I'm like, what? And he's like, well, France, most beautiful place on earth. French people, ugliest thing on earth. I was like, okay, thank you.
Stereotypes.
It is
It's
so
stereotypes.
true.
Like, I mean, and personally, I didn't enjoy France because I got screwed over on my rail pass because the conductor looked right at me and he punched my thing twice. So I lost a day on my rail pass, and he just basically told me to pound sand American and walk away. So that was my flavor of France. So I'm not really stoked on France. So
Well, I love it. I love
I know a lot of people love France.
You were just there, weren't you?
I'm a Francophile for
You
sure.
went to
A
Paris?
Francophile?
Someone who loves France.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
We did the whole country. We started in Paris up north, and we
go.
made it all the way down to Nice, and then we did a little bump over to Monte Carlo.
Nice.
I think this might be going a little crazy, but I think everyone has prejudices.
Yeah.
It's just, do you or do you not discriminate? To me, that's the differentiation.
Yeah.
Like, we all have, I think, all redheads burn, or like whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
I don't want it to get too crazy, but
Right.
I think every culture, every color, every ethnicity, everyone has prejudices about a group or a place or a this or a that, but do we discriminate?
No,
Like
that's
where it gets a
yeah.
little tricky for me. Like, I hope not.
That's why the experiences outside of the valley will help people kind of expand that.
Could
because
not
instead
agree
of being,
more.
Tunnel vision, of this is how it is. Like,
Yeah. You see this wide world and you're like, oh, see, we're all alike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than we are unlike each
Exactly.
other.
Yeah.
So what's been the best thing about living down here at the Point versus, when you're
Anywhere else in the valley, or just being in the valley?
no, just like living here at Wapato Point.
'Cause
It's
you're
such a
kind of a
magical,
minority.
it's such a magical place when people don't really, unless they've had a reason to understand Wapato Point, they may not understand what Wapato Point even is.
But like, how many people live here?
I don't know.
We probably have
Year round?
8 or 10 full timers now.
I mean, because
But
when
one
I
of them's
first
on the
heard
market to
about
sell.
people living here full time, I was like, huh? That sounded crazy.
Well,
to
We're
me.
Adam,
number
right?
2.
Yeah, it sounded absolutely crazy to me. Like, that's the most absurd thing I had ever heard. You do not live on Wapato Point.
We've talked about this before. It
just-
was getting back to the land use stuff, right?
Never dawned on
if
me.
you would have told me even maybe 10 years ago that I would think that owning a leasehold, which is what this is, so you have a sublease under a master lease that's for almost 50 years or something left on it, would be more secure than private property rights in the county, which is fee simple title.
Yeah.
I would have said, like, there's no possible way.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't make any sense. But when you stop and think about all the governmental agencies involved now and how much power they ended up
I
having,
mean, do we own it?
Not really.
They can take it away
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Just don't pay taxes.
there's this argument that when you say you have property rights, you have property privileges until they
Yeah.
tell you you don't.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
If you follow the rules.
water is one of the big ones, right? So
Yeah.
I work a lot with the Department of Ecology and wells and water rights and transfer water rights. And I just like, who would have thought, going back one generation, that if you didn't use your irrigation water for 5 years, you automatically lost it. I don't even think people know that because nobody tells you that.
Right.
There's not a,
No.
it's not a letter you get. It's not, they use images from what I understand and satellite photo. Now they might not do anything. They might not say anything until you maybe decide to sell that water, right?
Right.
Or until maybe somebody complains.
Yeah.
And
Or
then
they do their research.
And then they do
prior
the
to
research and they go, oh, we have the servers that has these photographs for 5 straight years of it being brown. So we can tell you to irrigate. So we have a 5-year use it or lose it rule.
Right? And you didn't know that.
You didn't know that. You were working in New York City and your parents were stopped farming because they were aged up and they pulled
Right.
the orchard out so you could come back when you're done and retired and replant vineyards. And then you realize,
Yeah.
oh, that 50,000 an acre I just replanted is not legal.
Yeah.
And nobody tells
Yeah.
you. So we're seeing more and more. That's one of, as you know, there's like 7 governmental agencies. Now, whether you're on the left side or the right side of politics, to me, it's not really relevant, but the private property rights, just like a lot of, the Bill of Rights, you would hope that wouldn't be the case, but it is. And the power they have is real.
Yeah.
So out here, what I found working this last summer, really for the first time since a long time, was that there's this freedom that I felt out here. That's common sense driven. If you're out of bounds and you do something that's, problematic, then you're going to have a problem. But if you're doing something like, carrying a beer from here to there, nobody's going to say, hey, knock it off. I'm going to give an open container violation. Here's a ticket. It's just different. It just feels different.
The whole enforcement out here is meant to be soft, so that people, slight guardrails. Like,
Right.
If there's a bunch of frat guys building beer pyramids and swearing, and there's little
Yeah.
kids, there's going to be a problem.
Right.
And so
Common sense. You deserve to be in trouble.
Yeah. And so that's why we have safety services come down and say, hey guys, knock it off or whatever. And I like that because I like the fact you can have a solo cup of beer and you're watching your kid play putt-putt. And,
Yeah.
I really do like the freedom out
You
here.
go fish right over there.
Go fish right over there. I like, every July I get a call from Christina. It says, fish are going to be delivered at 6 a.m. on this Friday.
That's so cool.
So we pull everybody out of bed and cruise down on the golf cart. We watch, 300 fish get dumped into that pond, and When Eloise was still here, my son and I were on that side of the pond, and he was on the Eloise side of the pond. Looked like he had never fished before, and he hucks this lure in, and this big, huge trout gets on this line. He's freaking out. It's like the first fish he's ever caught, and he doesn't reel it all the way in. He turns around with the pole and the fish, and he drags that fish up to the condo, up through the grass, with about 10 or 15 feet behind him, dragging the Mom, Dad, get the skillet.
Never forget.
You know? And
It's a memory, right?
Oh, it was a total memory. And my son and I looked at each other. We hadn't caught any fish. We're like, lucky kid.
I mean, think about out here. When you buy out here, and you have dues, but you don't have real estate taxes.
No.
So there's that. And how many people are feeling the pain of real estate taxes on the water?
Ton.
Like $30,000-$40,000 tax.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you get putt, you get wave runners, you have marina slips, you have pickleball courts, you have tennis courts, you have a basketball court, an indoor swimming pool, outdoor swimming pool,
Shuffleboard.
I
Horseshoes.
mean, yeah,
buoys.
It's so,
swim floats.
I mean, in this particular condo right here, I mean, it's like,
And you short-term rent it.
what else do you want?
And short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then make some money when you're not using it if you want to do that. Or, like you said, there's people living here year-round. One of the people last year we sold to at Yosemite was year-round.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was surprised how many people were thinking about it. But when you look at the taxes on the lake, and you think, wait a minute, well, that's a lot of money. And there's no like end in sight with that.
Yeah.
No.
And they're jumping, and there's, that could be felt not just on the lake, but everywhere.
Yeah.
That tax and spend mindset. So it's kind of like, wow, I can't afford a place here if I have a regular job. And B, if I do find a place, man, my insurance, my taxes seem to be. So I just, when I look back, I just think it's one of those things 30 plus years later, I would never have thought that. Like I
sure wish I would have bought some dirt.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
And never sold.
Yeah. And never
Okay,
sold.
so back to your original question.
What's the best thing about living here?
Yeah.
Calm.
Especially 9 months a year, I bet.
Like, I love it in the winter.
Yeah.
I don't mind the lack of people. I just feel so at ease. Even though I have stresses in life and kids and, work stuff, all that's fine. But at least I don't stress about, did I take my backpack out of the back of my truck so the window doesn't get broken in it tonight?
Yeah.
Did I forget to pick up my suit at the dry cleaners?
Is there a tweaker in the park next door?
Yeah. So I just think that the best thing about living here is I'm able to go do the things that with my family and friends that I never did in Medina. We talked about it all the time. Talked about at hours. Oh, we're going to go do this. We're going to go that. And so then we get to destinations like, we go over to Idaho. And then all our friends are there. And so then you have all these dinners and you're really not doing the family stuff. So for here, we have friends come and go. But I have the opportunity to go fishing and golfing and skiing and go do this stuff. And we do it hour away is Mission, hour and 20 from here. Yeah. And so that's really what I like is we've given our kids are of course, as parents, we think they're great, right? But none of them are Mensa scholars. None of them are dumb. None of them are going to play MLB, but they all ski. They all have some sort of tennis, golf. Like, so William's baseball career is now done. He's just going to go do intramurals at UW. And they went golfing yesterday. Amy, Lizzie, William, and John.
That's great.
And John was getting a golf lesson at the Muni. And so William came home and I go, how was it? As I was walking out at lunch, leaving the house to go back to the office, I said, tempo is power. Tempo is power. That's all I said to him as I walked out of the house. Because I've seen the boy swing. He's got an incredible bat.
Yeah.
And so he takes that straight to the golf course. And he's like, Dad, the balls were shooting out to the right. I'm like, perhaps your hands were coming in a little fast for the club.
Yeah.
Breaking those
let's
wrists.
maybe just
He's like,
relax this a little bit.
I just need to go to the range. I'll work it out. I'm like, I'll go with you.
When they have a ball picker upper machine again.
God, I saw those pictures. That was awful. Nobody got hurt, right?
No.
It was Jason Nickel. And I'm going to tell all this, Jason, you're a pyro. This is not the first thing that has caught on fire near him. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying.
Jason, don't take that.
Yeah, I'm just glad everyone was okay when I saw those pictures. I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Amy could have never gone and played golf with two of my kids.
While John's at camp.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, that camp that he would be doing would have probably cost us $1,000.
Legit.
You know? And so there was a memory created there. And every year in the fall, like September, the 6 of us go golfing. Last year we took him out to gamble. We bought at an auction, we bought a little package, and it was really a good buy. So we took them all out there. Well, there's a rattlesnake around the 18th tee box, like the little tee marker. And I got a video of William just Happy Gilmoreing that thing into the...
Ew.
Yeah, it was just like this.
Nice.
Allegedly, he did.
Allegedly. So, I mean, but those are memories. Like, John's never going to forget that.
No, I think growing up too, when you get the chance to participate in things you wouldn't have participated in, I think later on in life it helps you take on challenges.
Yeah.
When life throws curveballs at you, because you have had a little bit of this. You're not going to be, very few people go pro in anything, like tiny percentage, right?
Yeah.
So this opportunity to do what you want to do because you want to do it and then participate is a big, big deal for confidence.
Yeah.
I think self-esteem is, I don't have kids that are young now, but I would imagine that is a major issue right now. Self-esteem, especially with being a parent with social media and all the filters and all the bullying, cyberbullying.
Yeah.
We've talked about that a lot. I got cyberbullied in Wenatchee at our company down there by some psychos. It was like 5 reviews a day for 50 days. It was all BS, but there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself when that was being brought up about kids, and I go, it must be hard. When, who's doing it? Where's it coming from? What are they saying? Why are they saying it? So I feel for parents trying to do it, because it has to be a different element than I had with my kids, for sure.
It's how you communicate with your kids as well. Like, they have to kind of experience the boundaries in order to know what's right and wrong. But we're probably not as good as we should be as far as monitoring our kids' phones and all that. And they seem just fine. You've been around them. They seem fine to me. And so maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. But they always come forward and say, okay, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be with this person or these people. I haven't had to worry about that. And, we had our first experience recently with my third born that left without saying anything. And we were legitimately worried. And so we had a conversation on our deck outdoors, and we communicated directly. I said, can't happen, and here's why. And she said, okay. She at first tried to say something while I was talking, and I said, at this moment, I just want you to hear every word that comes out of my mouth and that I love you, and just let me finish. And she was like, okay. And she literally listened and hugged me afterwards and was like, okay, I get it now. So she just had to experience that stumble, but now she gets it. And I pointed to William as been a great role model for her. That he's been, he communicates. He picks up my call, no matter where he is and what he's doing.
I'm curious about this. My daughter has a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, 2 boys. And I told her, I think it's your job as a parent to set some boundaries and enforce them. And it's your kids at that age job to figure out where they are. At 3 and 6, they're still where.
Yeah.
Should I jump off this 10-foot?
Yeah.
Well, they're both very different kids. But I think that in itself, and love them.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate? You say that's pretty accurate? At that.
So one of the things that kind of flipped the switch for me as a parent, and I didn't really realize what I was doing, but I remember the day, is William was doing something, and he was probably 4, 5. And I got down on my knee and with a calm voice, and I talked through what was going on with him, and he got it. And ever since that day, he's always we've had this communication, this bond that, because I didn't do this and point down to him and stand up above him, make him feel
fear.
And so I got on his level and said, we're going to make mistakes. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah.
And, always, we try and teach them, don't make assumptions, and understand if somebody's mean to you at school that day, it probably was something that happened to them at home.
Yeah,
it wasn't
not
what
about
you were
you.
doing at that
Yeah.
moment.
Hell, that's true with every human.
Everybody. Right?
Teaching that empathy and compassion for others, then they get confident because they're like, oh, he called me a name. rolls off my back because I know that there could have been something going on at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true, especially with social media. For adults, business, I mean, you see the stuff that people just throwing darts. You're like, what?
On the what did I say?
Jerry
Social
Springer of
media
Chelan.
platform not to be mentioned or
Yeah,
something.
Jerry Springer of Chelan. No offense, whatever that is. Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, it's just different, right?
Yeah.
It's a new technology that is, but you can just tell when people have had a rough day, or they can just tell they're going through a rough time, and they're just like, you know, what the hell? And it's in a way, it's that fuel that people just continue to pile on. I mean, in development, my partner got on it one time, and I said, you probably shouldn't get on social media. And he did one time. No, I can explain it. And I go, he got blitzed. And I was like, he goes, I see what you mean. Yeah, there's not a lot of logic.
No.
Nobody really gives a shit what
Yeah.
you think, right?
Yeah,
now. Like, this
exactly.
is you're not changing their mind today.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
they're just in the mood today. So, you know, and you got to respect that, because I can see, you know, we talked about the word local, right? And do you feel like a local? Because I think you're a local.
You do?
Yeah.
No, I don't
See-
feel like 100% local.
You feel like you live here.
I live here.
I feel like
But
you
I'm
should
not.
not pay
A
homage to.
resident.
I think you should respect families that have been here a long time. But if you're a good person and you live here, I think you're a local.
Right.
And you
That's my
participate
definition.
in community. You have to participate in some level in what's going on here.
If that's what you want. I mean, if you're a good person and you're an
You're not going to
introvert.
be a
and-
local.
I just don't. There's a million definitions, right? Yours might be
Totally.
different than mine. I
Yeah.
mean, my kids are 5th generation from here. So, yeah, I could say that we're pretty about as old as it gets. But I also know that it doesn't mean a lot to me. What I hope a local is to your point, somebody cares about people, learns from their mistakes,
Yeah.
realizes everybody makes them. Not everybody's going to be, again, the other reason for this podcast is often people know you in high school. And now 40 years later, you're still that person.
Which is not true.
35.
Pretty sure I'm not. I had a lot more hair.
I actually said that to George when I think I may have told you. I
Yeah.
said to George, he goes, I remember Russ. He's like, wow, he was kind of a fast mover or something like that. That's
Yeah.
not really what he said, but it was something like that. I said, oh, George, you knew him when Russ was running around with his hair on fire. And I said,
And now he's bald.
That's what Mach 6.
no, I
Yeah, Mach 6 with your hair on fire. This is what happens.
And he goes, yeah, I kind of remember that. I'm like, he's a totally different person. We've talked through a lot of his
Well, you can imagine at
life
that moment, I had
experience.
2 little 10. I was going through divorce, 10 and 5-year-old kids, basically going down financially in the 2008 crisis, trying to manage parents that were with me and under, you know, not dependents, but they were working with me.
Yeah.
Ex-wives, like, you know, I mean,
That's
all
a lot.
to be
All the
all, and you're trying to, all the employees I had, and at the time, you know, pre-2008 was a run. So we had
You
6.
guys were flying
We were,
high.
yeah, and it was a wild time, and then it just stopped, and it stopped for the whole country, right? The whole world in a way. So
Yeah.
that's what I was, you know, saying how actually grateful I was at the time that I did that deal with him. But I can only imagine if I was able to see myself now, what I was going through then, just like we were just talking. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a
taking
lot.
Taking on a lot. And
Yeah, all
and
at once.
He was excited when I said your name. He got excited as I talked through kind of what we experienced because I walked him through the Cindy and what you guys did. So anyway, I really, he was pretty excited. He said, I think this is a good idea.
I just mean to say that I think anyone who weaves themselves into the fabric of the community in whatever way it is that they do that, then that's what makes you local.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I joined the community center board 7
You know, I
years
mean,
ago.
I think
just-
it's also important to not let a experience when you, like, a lot of people step into that world that I've seen move here, and there's some people that are judgmental, right? I would always encourage people, if they're watching this, don't let 1 or 2 people,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, that did or said something that when you were probably very sensitive when you're first getting into a community and you're like, that person she's lived here a long time and she was just so mean. I'm never going back to, you know,
Yeah.
that's just that person.
Right.
That doesn't mean everybody's like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it could have been, to our point earlier, that person just had a bad day too.
Yeah.
You know, even if they, nope, that person's, you know, the wicked witch. Okay, well, maybe she is. But that's not everybody. So keep in the game. Like, keep trying to be involved. Because I've seen that happen where, I mean, actually I had a couple moved here and I said, they bought from us, kind of retired. And she goes, oh, I go, well, sometimes people talk about people in a small town, and just don't let it bother you. And she goes, oh no, people don't talk about me. I'm the sweetest person ever. And I said, okay. And the next thing you know, they called me and they wanted to sell their house. And I was like, what's the matter? She goes, I just can't. I was at the club and then this person, and it just got to him because I think, and you could tell me, you both could probably, with anonymity of a city.
Ooh, I love it.
There's just a difference. You don't feel like there's no connection, right? You go to the grocery store, nobody knows you, really?
No. If you go to the same grocery store all the time, you do know those people.
You just go to a different one if you don't like it.
You just don't see everyone in the aisle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have relationships that are unique to that place that you go all the time. Whether it's a country club or a work or your grocery store or your gym or whatever. You have those independent relationships that matter. That's important. It makes you feel connected in a different way. Sure. It's just you can go to the post office and then leave the post office.
Yeah. Well,
not see anybody.
You probably know people in an industry, but you don't know that guy's a cop and that guy works at the hardware store and that guy is an ambulance driver.
That's the part
of all these people.
I love that part of being here.
Yeah.
Picking up the phone, you call Wenatchee Petroleum, and a live body answers. I just called the PUD today, and a live body answered. Yeah. That is something that is irreplaceable. Like, I love that about being here.
Yeah.
I also like watching, so Lou and Sandra Hazem moved here from the same neighborhood where I was in Bellevue. We were neighbors, and their son and my son are 4 days apart, both baseball players. And
nice.
So it was fun. So they moved here. And those two jumped right in. Like within a year, they were rattling off names. I'm like, I don't know that person. Like, you don't? And
they're
so
great.
Like, how have you been here longer than me? And I know them.
They're fun people.
And they just Lou's a volunteer firefighter, responds to calls. Sandra just went through the EMT program. Like, they totally ingrained themselves.
That's really cool.
It was, and that's what I love. Like, hey, have you met Ryan Moody? Like, Moody was one of the first people I met because I was coaching the select team with him and his son Rylan, and William was on it. And I'm like, Amy, I know a cop. Like, this is great. And because it just made me feel comfortable that I know this person, so that if I had a problem, I could call him and it's a live body, or I can text him and say, hey.
Yeah, for sure. People call us all the time.
Yeah.
For all kinds of reasons that have nothing to do with real estate.
Yeah, but you probably know somebody. They don't know somebody, then you know somebody that can help them problem.
Yeah, it's just like calling the Yellow Pages from the olden days. Call Russ, he probably knows somebody that knows somebody.
Service when you're when you
or take my garbage out because I sold your house 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey Russ, you take my garbage out? Okay. I guess. Like every week.
I love how many entrepreneurs though are in the valley. You have
there is a ton.
Like Tony just walked in, right? Mm-hmm. And he has his team that he's growing. And then I needed a plumber for a house, and boom, I was sitting down with a buddy of mine, and he's like, "There's your plumber." And I walk over and I'm like, "Hey, can you help me out with this house?" He's like, "That's my old house. Sure, I'll go tomorrow." And I was like, "You owned that house before these guys?" Yeah, I'll go out there tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Versus, I was probably going to be 4, 5, 6 days before I could get a plumber out there. It's kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is a perk of
total perk.
I always tell kids when they're graduating and when I write their card or I go to their party or whatever, I'm not saying college isn't important. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying never forget that it's who you know more than what you know. Yeah. Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. Those relationships, the knowing the person at the right time in the right place gets you way further than all the brainiac things you could ever know.
Yeah. I mean, you think about this whole town was founded on entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Like rogue, talk about cowboys, homesteaders and wagon wheel kind of stuff.
Who'd we have on the podcast? It was, who was it? His grandfather came 11 years old on a train with a horse. Who was that we was talking to? I can't remember.
That was sorry, that was Rod Cool, right?
Yeah, Rod Cool.
Yeah, Rod Cool.
Who just retired 38 years or something, FFA.
Did you hear this one?
I read about, he was the coach. Was he the coach?
FFA teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
tell us,
so his
'cause it's so good.
grandfather was 11 in like Oklahoma, the oldest of 4 boys. And then his parents, so his great grandfather, put his grandfather on a train with a horse to Seattle. And then that guy alone.
Yeah, 11
at
years
11.
old.
No, he had his horse.
Had his horse. Now get this. He rides his horse over the Cascades to Manson and
Yep.
homesteads.
Yes, he does.
Right
and
up
then
there.
they
And
come.
then-
11-year-old.
And then they
And then-
sends for his family.
Yeah, then sends for his family.
His
to
younger
come.
brothers, and then the parents came.
Yeah.
Last. So
Yep.
different. Like
That
different,
happened.
So
different
that
time.
11-year-old definitely lived, I would say, for probably 3
How many
to 5
11-year-olds
months
make it over the North
by
Cascades by themselves now in a
How many
horse?
11-year-olds make it across the street?
That's what everybody
True.
says.
Yeah.
We've softened a little
I
bit.
literally
softened
just,
quite a
that's what
bit.
I think about. Like, just this is not that long of a span of time.
Like 2 people ago.
No, yeah, it's like 100 years.
Yeah, my dad's mom came to Manson on a covered wagon when she was 7.
So now when Brody's like, I
Lived to be
can't
101.
walk to the swimming hole from the store
It's different.
by himself, I'm like, oh, you sure can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not telling you to go on a horse
Right?
5 states away.
Yeah.
I'm saying walk 2 blocks in a straight line to a
And he's
place
probably
where
like,
you
what
can
does that mean, a horse?
Yeah.
I don't even, he can't even comprehend it.
Well, he's gonna ride his horse to school someday, so that's on my list of things. I'm
Sure
sorry,
can't take
I
the
don't-
shotgun to school anymore, I'm pretty sure.
No, but he can ride the horse. I asked. Speaking of knowing the sheriff, I went to high school with one. I'm like, is there anything that says he can't ride his horse to school now? And they're like, nope.
Tie it up next to an apple tree.
I'm like,
Just tie
perfect.
it off. Be fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Bring a shovel.
So where do you think,
Yeah.
Scott, where do you think, Scott, this is going? You know, what does it look like 20 years from now?
Just the whole valley. I think we have some pinch points. I think our infrastructure is going to be challenging. I think some of the regulations that have passed, especially with short-term rentals, have really shrunk our economy. I understand why they're in place. I'm just not necessarily understanding the logic and how it was deployed.
Yeah, me neither.
So those are a couple things that we really have to figure out how to. I mean, I've talked to Clark about this. Like, get all the restaurant owners, and in specific areas, say it's like downtown Manson, right? And then you have staff.
Oh, he loves this idea.
I think it's a good idea. I don't know how to get all the owners to kind of buy off into it, but if you think about it, you have a pool of workers that
That are
learn,
all trained.
that are all
Yeah.
trained in all those restaurants, and then it ebbs and flows, and you can pull from it. And if that's you have to organize
A
it.
community, yeah.
Like a staffing, like Kelly Call Girl kind of a thing.
Yeah, and Ben Williams and I have talked a lot about just he struggles to get staff. Wapato always
Everybody
struggles.
struggles.
Eric Campbell struggles.
But then we got to talk about how, because there's nowhere for
there's
staff
no-
to live.
there's no housing.
And then there's no year-round jobs. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of, like we were saying
There's
earlier,
hurdles.
just do this. It's like, well, I mean,
pretty hard to do when you have prices that
there's
way.
one road in and one road out.
Yeah.
How
Well,
do-
it's
you
a
know.
dichotomy, right? Because the same people often don't understand the nuances of development in general.
Yeah.
And they don't see a benefit to development. They see the curse of development, which I understand. When you sell $1 million house, that's what's being developed. I'm a teacher. I'm a nurse. I'm a
Exactly.
cop. I'm a hospitality person.
Yeah.
So all developers become bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then when you say in the same sentence, I don't want to see another house built, why are these homes so expensive?
Because of the shortage.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
mean,
it's supply and demand.
there's our econ right
but
there.
there's this problem with education that I can definitely understand. You know, if you weren't in real estate or if you didn't understand it, why would you even know any of this stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
All you know, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? All I see is more money, more money, more money, and I'm not making any more money. And I can't live in the town I grew up. All right, I have to move my family because, all of a sudden my taxes go up, and now there's no
Yeah.
way I can. I mean, those are the real problems.
Yeah.
And when you try to find real solutions, where I think we're heading, unfortunately, because we're trying hard. I mean, it's a hard problem to solve, that essential worker housing.
Yeah.
It's so complex, but we have a team that works daily on this. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be hard, and I see this place getting more and more and more expensive, regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
It's just you hit it. It's a finite number of places, and if you don't find a way to add more places to live
Yeah.
in a way that's more affordable,
Yeah.
then you're going to have gentrification, because those people in Seattle still like it here too.
Yeah.
And why would you can't blame them
there's
for any of
kind of
that.
an old business model for resort towns where the resort itself or the
Houses.
houses the staff and
Yeah.
college kids and
Yeah.
whatever
I think that's
people
being
like
done,
that.
yeah, at
You
times.
know,
We've talked about it out here quite a bit.
I mean, that's what orchardists do.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
also pretty
it's like
apparent in other places. You can go where the billionaires are kicking out the millionaires from Jackson Hole down to Pinedale. Or we used to be a
Yeah.
cowboy town. Well, I was there. I see a lot of cowboy boots, not a lot of cowboys.
Right.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of Lamborghinis.
Cute boots. though.
Cute boots, yeah, very cute.
Well, I think geography plays a role too. It's really tough. We are in a valley with a lake in the middle.
Yeah, so I call it supply constraints, really.
Yeah.
And if you think about the government-held properties, 88% or so is owned by the government in Chelan County. Then you're cut by a glacier. It's kind of hard to build on vertical slopes.
Yeah.
Then you have infrastructure
Yeah, I
problems,
guess
water
why
right
don't-
problems.
Why doesn't Wapato Point do that? You've got backland that is not valuable for condos. Why not?
You mean as far as like provide some sort of housing?
Yeah, put up some sort of
I think the
picker cabins.
one of
for-
the concerns was taking if there was any riffraff or arguments or anything like that or issues that come with close people living together, any sort of domestic stuff that and to have that housed on property where guests are here and they may get in the middle of it because they've been drinking
Well,
with solo cups and they make a comment
yeah.
and you know what I mean, like
Well, but like maintenance shack area
Yeah.
or like
Okay.
away
Yeah.
from.
yeah.
Yeah, I just know this. The only way
you
it's going to be
could.
solved is creative thinking and going away from the norm that's currently here. Because
Yeah.
what's currently here, I can't remember the name of the lake in Montana, but there was a documentary on it. The whole town shut down. They had a big mill. The mill was doing great, $7 million a year in payroll, 4th generation ownership.
Wow.
They just shut down because they were too far away from any housing, and nobody could afford to live there. Then there was like a Kelly's Hardware with an old guy they interviewed, and he was like the Gene Kelly of that store.
Yeah.
And when he's done, that store's done. Wow. And the whole town just imploded. And it was 35, 40 miles away from another city that with $5 a gallon and daycare prices the way they are, it just didn't work. So you end up, then you have the people that are vacationing there no longer find it as fun because there's no restaurants,
No
there's
services.
no
Yes.
So
winery.
nothing. It is. This is real touchy.
So this is an interesting, like, I like to talk about it because, especially with real estate guys like yourself, that there is, if you have an open mind and when you see people just going at it online about development, there's so much more to it. And what I know from experience is we have a fairly popular subject in Chelan that we're working on, that mountain in there. Mm-hmm. And about a year ago when we started, man, it was like bam, bam, bam online, like what we're trying to do. Last time it was about half and half. And they're like, wait a minute, have you guys talked to them? Because they have these ideas. They're not exactly what you think. They're not building the Lookout on steroids. They're not trying to do any of that.
Yeah, I mean that's a fear. It's a real fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it comes from assumption, right? Because when you really get to talking about what we're doing and you have the opportunity to listen, if you're in the mood to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to have that open
Okay,
mind.
but
That
then
helps.
Chelan just filed bankruptcy because of a developer.
Or because here's a good
that
example.
happens too.
I was a
where
little
the
surprised
city,
that
I'm
they-
not an attorney and I'm not in that case, but when a city starts to interpret code arbitrarily, that's a problem because that's another supply constraint, the bureaucracy. You've been in development
Yeah.
where you ran into adverse possession. I've literally seen, like, I make a joke. I go, you can go spend a couple million on a development, and then they go, we're almost there. You just got to build a sidewalk to Seattle, and then we'll give you, we'll give you your final
My
plat.
permits are approved.
Well, so when a city does that to you, you have no. What choice do you have? You're going to sue them.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can't do that. That's not the code. That's not the law.
You had already proved it.
So that predictability has to be.
Is that what happened there?
I'm not in the case. So
Yeah, I don't
it's the developer has a perspective that happened, and
I'm
obviously
not
he
pointing
won.
fingers, but it is happening. Chelan is filing
Yeah.
bankruptcy.
It just surprised me when I read it, and I don't know much about
Yeah,
the area
right.
other than
Not
think
yet.
about it. Like all of the Suncadia
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
people go into Roslyn, they go to Owens Meats, they go to the restaurants in Cleellum. Like I was a little surprised that was the extreme.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happens in real time. You have people that have time and money that show up at city council meetings and don't want another house built. Fair enough. I wish it was 1987. I'd love to go back in time. I liked this town when I was there. The other challenge is when the people that need the housing, and so there's a subdivision, let's say, that could provide housing. Well, if all these people show up with time, money, and lawyers, that have a house already and don't want to see another one built, and the people that would benefit from that are maybe working two jobs, taking
In
kids to soccer
Ellensburg.
games and recitals, and they don't show up at city council meetings. So then, unfortunately, sometimes the vocal minority that think they're the majority bend the ear because of possible threats of litigation and possible activism and burning torches and pitchforks. And then the next thing you know, it costs X dollars more to do it. And then the next thing you know, the houses are more expensive. So there's this really unraveling. There's a lot to this. That's why I said it's a very complex problem. But what I see, it used to be the cost of labor, the cost of pipe, the cost of acquisition of land. It used to take 2 weeks to get a short plat in my career. Now it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? If you had predictability for investors, that would help a lot, because that's a big problem when there's not enough people that want to help make that change happen, right?
Right.
So the question you had, Tara, is a good question. I think you have to put all of those questions, like if you're passionate about fixing the problem, you got to put all of the questions out there and have conversations about them.
Yeah.
And work through it, because there's good points on every side.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just trial and error.
100%.
You know?
What we know now is not working.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, the highway's too constricted. But adding 20 homes isn't going to make a difference on, adding 400 homes would make a difference on the infrastructure. But I just think there needs to be another option. I just don't know.
And that all starts I'm not a politician, so I get it. It's a difficult job, like a thankless job. But listening to conversations, and that's what I do see as encouraging. People are more open-minded to listening rather than just making a judgment like all developers are bad. I don't benefit. They're all bad. I want you all to go away. Well, I guarantee if that happens, that house is very expensive in about 5 years.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more people coming.
That's a lot.
And unless we figure out how to blow the tunnel, they're going to get through the pass. They're coming here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's interesting.
If you were to guess right now, your crystal ball, you and Amy stay here and grow old, and how many of your kids end up back in the valley?
That's a great question.
Oh gosh, I have no idea. I don't know, because it's been a struggle for my parents to not have me in Boise. My brother's there, my sister's there. I've got 4 kids, or 4 of their grandkids out of the 7.
Yeah.
So that's been a real rough time, but at the same time, I couldn't do what I do in Boise, at least on the industrial side. I couldn't do that, so I was never going to go there. But for here, I could see Mary coming back here. I don't know about Elizabeth. She's the wild card. She could be anywhere. William, I'm not sure. I just want to watch and see what they do.
Yeah.
And then for Amy and I when I go over there, she enjoys going over there, right?
Yeah.
But she also gets kind of like Vegas, right? After
Yes.
about 48 hours, you're like, why am I here?
I did the things.
Yeah,
I went
did
to
them now.
Frenchie's.
Yeah,
I went to the
exactly,
club. I went to the
exactly.
thing. And now.
So about 4 days is the most that I'm okay being over there. So I don't see myself, if I was to leave, going back to Bellevue. I see myself somewhere else, some other town.
You don't talk about this much, but in that spirit of your family, talk to me about what it's like when your dad said he had to go off on his own because your grandfather was fairly powerful, and changed a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Can you tell that in the way you want to?
Yeah. So you want me to tell you the whole story, or
Whatever you want.
Much as you wanna
let's
share.
everyone knows Fred Hutch, so let's just get it out on the table, because that's.
Maybe not everyone. What is it?
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I come from a family of doctors, and so my grandfather, my great grandfather, I don't know about his, but so my grandfather was a general surgeon, and he did his own research, which is unusual. He actually rented space on in the back of a church for $1 a year from.
That's crazy.
I think Sadie owned the church or bought it afterwards, something like that. Anyway, so he would go to his club and get money from his buddies, golfing buddies, and he'd go buy a new microscope, or he'd do this. Anyway, research was one of his passions. Well, his brother Fred was a pro baseball player and smoked. So after he got done playing, he played for Detroit, and I want to say he played for about 10 years in the bigs. And that part of the time was paying to the
Just like maybe in
Rainiers.
the 30s.
This is in the 40s and 50s. Yeah,
and
late
50s.
30s, 40s and 50s, because they're 10 years apart. So my grandfather was captain of the team in 1931, the UW baseball team. He was also a third baseman.
Love that.
So Fred sat in the dugout and smoked cigarettes. And so he got lung cancer, and within, I think it was about 12 months, roughly, he passed away. And so my grandfather was like, F it, we got to do more about this. And at the time, there was no federal funding for cancer research. And then, so he started raising money, and it was about 9 or 10 years of just constantly raising money and building up this war chest. And then he flew to, and here's a small world, he flew to DC to rally in front of Congress because Congress wanted to put a cancer research center in every major city. And my grandfather's argument was, if you don't put the doctors together, you dilute the communication. Because at the time, everything was on paper or telephone. You didn't have anything digitally to pass. And a lot of this cancer research is proprietary to that doctor. So to share it means you just lost your potential breakthrough, whatever.
Yes, right.
So there was this he said, you got to get them all in one place. Well, they bought off on that, and that was the extra money that the feds gave to him to open up the Fred Hutch in 1975.
If you don't know what Fred Hutch cancer research is, you need to get out from the rock.
So it became
kind of a big deal.
One of the biggest research facilities in the world, and really cool approach. Talk about balancing two different sides of politics. You know, it's a delicate balance because everybody needs it. So you try and keep politics out of it. But so Fred died, and then he opened up the cancer center, and he actually started one prior to that. It's called Pacific Northwest Research Institute. And that was the first one, kind of like this. Different doctors with their differing research expertise. So one guy's studying diabetes, another one's studying cancer over here, but it's prostate cancer, and over here's breast cancer. Well, what the Fred Hutch did was it brought in all the research. And the way they designed the building, which is really fascinating to me, is they have interstitial floors. So basically, when a lab shuts the lights off the previous evening, they flick the lights on in a brand new lab upstairs. So they move labs without losing any time for construction. So they're able to construct a lab in a floor. So every other floor is empty. So there's no downtime for these doctors. And then the center between the labs are on the outside generally, and in the center between the hallways are all the shared equipment. So centrifuges and freezers and everything. So you have multiple different labs studying different fields within cancer research, and sometimes not all cancer research. Sometimes it's crunching data and getting results from different. So there's a couple of doctors, that really smart brothers that started a company, done very well now, but they created or they were able to take the data from all the different processes, because when you're doing research, you have a hypothesis, right? And then you work through the scientific process to prove it, right? Well, that failed. So they document all of the failure from every step of the way. So now they can figure out, they can type in, okay, it's this kind of cancer, it's in this area of the body, it's this and this and this. What is the likelihood of yes? And then it's like, nope, don't do that. So you know that now. So that's pretty incredible.
I mean, AI has to be massive in cultivating this data now.
Yeah, and the last time I was around, they hired a CTO to do this, and he's he's just technology, and so they put a ton of tech into it. But
so your dad,
getting back to Grandpa. So Grandpa ended up. So let's go to my dad. So Grandpa's kind of a big deal. He was also drafted.
Kind of a big deal.
He was drafted to play professional baseball too.
It's just
So he to the Pirates, and he chose to go to medical school in McGill in Canada. So that was kind of a big deal.
So your dad grows up with this
big
mega
legacy.
force.
Like imagine who's walking through. I mean, DiMaggio was a good buddy of Fred's. Like there was like all these people. Tommy Lasorda.
And he's thinking
LA
like,
Dodgers.
I mean, I'm assuming he's thinking, how do I be my own man?
Yep. Yep.
I need to maybe be a trailblazer for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, that's a big
Yeah, I'm
shout-out.
curious. I don't know anything about what your dad ended up doing.
So he was a zoology major in
wow.
cancer down at the University of Arizona. Was going to be a doctor, but couldn't stand the blood.
Well, that's kind of a
That
big
is
deal.
a problem. Yeah.
Kind of passes
fly.
out. And guess who else took Latin in high school and was pre-med 2 years at college that can't stand the blood?
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't a doctor. So anyway, he's an investment manager. So he
Finance.
Yeah, finance.
Finance.
Yeah. So he's been managing. He started a company over there, and he went into the guy's office, and they had known of each other, and he said, we can join forces, or I'm going to be your competition.
Or we can compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they joined forces at a very good company.
And both are your parents still?
Yeah, both of my parents are
wife's
alive.
Parents.
Yeah. Wife's parents, her dad has passed, but her mom's still alive. And just awesome. So, yeah, that was kind of fun. And it was Burroughs and Hutchinson. And I got to tell you, combining the name Schuchart and Hutchinson is too much. If I do it again, that's why it's North Shore Realty. There's Hutchinson's nowhere near it because it's inevitably going to get spelled wrong. So anyway, same with Schuchart.
Yeah, it's an incredible legacy, though. I mean, it's an amazing
Yeah.
contribution, and and to be able to see it from a humble perspective, and
Yeah.
you very rarely talk about it, and your family, and it's just neat.
Amy and I started what's called Innovators Network because a friend of mine that worked there at the Hutch, and I started volunteering the minute I moved to Seattle. I was on the Hutch Board Committee with my aunt, some old baseball players that are just I had the pleasure of knowing.
Yeah.
And she approached us, and this is in 2008. She said, "Hey, what do you think about getting because I started a group within a real estate organization called Young Professionals Group, and basically we got all the young kids in the industry together, and I say young, like 35 and under, something like that, and then we'd hand write letters to key real estate people, like really top tier people in the community that everybody knew, lenders, lawyers, like everybody knew these players, and we'd invite them to our events, and we'd have a happy hour event, and so they would come. They'd hang out with all these young people, and frankly, a lot of guys were like, "Oh, I really like I need to follow this guy because I may want to hire him."
Right.
So we started that group. Is really successful. And then, here's a small world. Eric Featherstone helped me start it. He's the general manager here, and so with the support of my boss, who was the president of the organization at the time. So Eileen comes to me and says, "I want to do this within the Fred Hutch," and I said, "Eileen, if you haven't noticed, the spigot's turning off, the lights are turning off, and our whole crew is getting laid off. This generation of workers is getting laid off." She said, "We have a budget already approved." I said, "So you're going to invite us to the Hutch, give us beer and wine and appetizers, and then we get to listen to really interesting researchers?" I'm in. So Amy and I, William was 1.5 or something, and Eileen just had her daughter, I think. And anyway, so young. So the first meeting, there was 10 of us in a room, and this first Innovators Network meeting. And we looked around the table. We wanted to get 100 members, and or I said like 30. I said I think we can get like 30 or 40 people. Guy at the end of the table, sales guy, awesome. He goes, 100. He goes, "We can dial for dollars. Let's get this done." It's that kind of motivation. You're like, whoa, this guy's like obsessed. Like, I like this guy. So we did. We got 101 members our first year. We hit our goal, and we never looked back. We've raised $20 million since we started it for the Fred Hutch. It took us 4 years to get our first gala. And I remember they just posted the things on Facebook, and we just had our was it 10 years or something like that? And was it 10? It was more than that.
That's awesome.
Maybe it was a 20 year.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was
Anyway,
gonna
it was a
say.
picture of me and my friend Alicia, who I was with last weekend. Her and her husband were 2 of the 10 that were in the room. He takes a pill every day to keep him alive because he has cancer, and has since he was like 33, and he's
Jeez.
49, 48 now.
Wow.
So anyway, very proud of that group. That was our way of
Very
giving
cool.
back to the Fred Hutch without being a doctor. So I kind of take a different approach. I don't take it as like, oh, my grandfather's name is on the door. I take it as, what can I do to help? So that's what we did.
Something that was started and continue to.
Well, thanks for sharing that story, because you
that's
don't
cool.
talk about it a lot, so
Yeah.
it's neat.
I know it's like this whisper when people are like, Yeah, this is Scott and Amy Hutchinson, and they're like, Fred Hutchinson. I'm like, yes, like Fred Hutchinson. That's yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everyone wants to know, like Fred.
Well, we've been at it a couple hours almost.
It's been a couple hours already?
Hour and a half, 2 hours. Something like that.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Wow.
At the Ponderosa.
At the Ponderosa.
There's 2 of these for sale.
Yes.
And we're going to start working it Saturday.
Wouldn't you like to have your boat right there?
Yeah.
We were going to come in the boat because we have a boat at sunset, and we were going to say this would be a good way to come to work.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
Anyway,
fun.
Thanks for the opportunity.
I
and
appreciate you guys reaching out to me, and I don't like to talk about a lot of this stuff. So.
Good.
Well, you did
We
now.
put it on camera. We put it on YouTube.
That was for the whole world, Scott. You're welcome.
Now, if anybody asks me, like, oh, here's a link, you
Yeah.
can just listen to it.
Yeah.
Don't ask me any questions.
Well,
I
I've got
talked about it once.
We
not
got a
about-
plan to get Amy on so we can find out
Yeah.
what
The
all
secret, the secret Amy.
the secret
Yeah.
Amy. I haven't met her as much, I don't think.
She's,
Anyway.
she stays in the shadows.
Chasing kids, got lots to do.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
very
Signing
much.
off one more time from Small Towns Unscripted.